we are going to talk about the deeply stupid battle of the leakers. Man, I've talked about this a lot, right? And I probably sound like a broken record, but I am just so over what now passes for kind of, you can't even call it reporting anymore in Counter-Strike. It's like outside of the handful of actual journalists that left, when it comes to like roster moves right now, it is really, really bad. And by the way, look, I saw Overdrive in Astana, so don't take this fucking personal again. Don't go crazy. Call me an old dog shit. Say you're going to call me a moron to my face. And then when I say, come on then, you don't do it. And we all have a talk and it's all silly. Let's not all go down this road again. Let's just talk about how what you're all doing right now is fucking pathetic. Like, it's just pathetic. Because it's very clear to me that people are just chucking darts at a board and taking guesses and hoping that if I get a hit, everyone's going to say, wow, I'm the genuine bona fide insider. And look, I'm friends with KRL. Looks like he's got some wrong this time around, and they're all calling each other names. And it's like, guys, I get it. It's Rostermania. It used to be a huge driver of traffic when I used to do this. But here's the key component. When I started this over in League of Legends, and then Jacob Wolf ran with it and took up the mantle and turned it into the Wolf Bomb and all that, we got every single move correct. That was the difference. We didn't publish anything unless it was going to happen. Fans used to go fucking crazy about it. They'd say, there's no way this is true. We used to look at each other like, fucking, is this right? Is this the one we get wrong? We never got one wrong. Never. Not in the entire history of doing it. Even when I wasn't there, Jacob never got one wrong. Josh Raven never got one wrong. All of the crew that started Rostermania, we just didn't get one wrong. Because that would have been the worst thing as far as we were concerned. These days, it doesn't matter. No one cares. There's a new fucking Twitter account every week called like Aussie Insider. And they just guess. And you morons out there, you post it to Reddit, you share it on Discord, you follow them. They're just making it up. And like, these are the best of the best I'm about to talk about. These are the best leakers in the space. Their records are atrocious now, as they've just given up on actually getting it right, and they're just guessing. By the way, if I could do an experiment this Rostermania. I could guess every roster move that I think's going to happen, and I'd probably get 60 to 70% correct. But it would still be guessworks. So it's insane what's happening. I want to just show you how ridiculous it's got, because now the leakers are fucking fighting each other, it's like, guys, trust me, there's enough Cloutium to fucking go around. There's enough Cloutium to fuel your hopeless addiction to fucking attention. There is enough. There's definitely enough. Right, let's just start with this. Right, I mentioned this earlier. Overdrive. Kiyosuke's transfer was about $2 million 2 weeks ago. But you work for Team Spirit. You work for Team Spirit, dude. You work for Team Spirit. This isn't even a leak. This is just a violation of confidentiality. That's what this is absurd that this is happening still in 2025. Spirit are just like, well, he did scout Dong and he did scout Kiyosuke. By the way, claims that we don't really know are true. We take him at his word. But if you work for me and you're leaking details of fucking transfers, I fire you that day. It's not even there's no discussion. It doesn't matter what good work you did. This isn't the first time this has happened. I just fire you. Like, thanks for Donk, thanks for Kiyosuke, but you can't be trusted. You want your Telegram to pop over being a professional. I can't employ you anymore. But turns out in fucking Russia and CIS, you can just do this, and this is fine. This is actually good. This is actually a good thing. So anyway, the reason I'm bringing that up is it got denied, of course. Thanks for sharing the announcement. However, the buyout rumors isn't correct. The buyout was big, but not close to what you mentioned. Now, he's got a reason to lie as the CEO of Falcons because, right, one of the things, I don't know, well, we'll go here. I don't know if you've been watching that fucking terrible document, and I mean terrible. It is dog shit. It is normie slop. It is one of the worst esports documentaries I've ever seen. Like, if you have even followed esports casually, it has nothing for you, right? But I watched their documentary Level Up, or whatever it's called. Now, one of the things that they continually say and do, the Falcon staff, and that is, they say, oh, people say we've spent millions, but we haven't. But I assume I understand why they assume that. Because look at the great players we've recruited. It's an objective fact that you've spent millions. It's an objective fact. Everyone knows you've spent millions. Why are you denying it? Why are you trying to launder it? So they're always trying to play down. We're not just a money organization. We're really good at scouting, actually. No, you're not. The other teams have the talent, and you just go, we'll buy that talent from you. And then if that organization goes, well, we don't want to sell, you just point to Esports World Cup stipend, that giant pot of money you're taking out. Be terrible if that was to go away. Yeah. Guess we better play nice with the Saudis, right? That's how that's going. You know, incredible, isn't it, to think that all of these things being interwoven could be bad for the space. So Falcons are going to get every signing they want every time because they'll either pay money or people will be worried, whether it's a valid concern or not, that by not playing nice with Falcons, you could get frozen out of the Saudi equation. So, of course, he's playing it down. But also, let's not rule out the fact Overdrive could be wrong about his own organization. You know what I mean? He could be wrong. That's the madness of it all. Like, it doesn't get more insider info than you leaking info from your own employer, and it could still be inaccurate. That's the madness of it. That's where we're at. I'll also just point this out. What even is this? This isn't even a leak. This was on the front page of Reddit. The front page. It was like 5th highest thread. I wonder when will the next Falcons change be announced. They are going to have a new squad next season. Maybe they will make more than just one change. I mean, any fan could say that. Any fan with no insider information, maybe they will make more than one change. Maybe. Turns out, though, even your maybe isn't accurate because they didn't. And they're saying the roster's locked now. But, like, I don't even blame Overdrive for this. I blame the people that think this is in any way an important observation. Like, what kind of moron? Oh, Overdrive says they might do... Yeah, I say they might do something. What does that mean? Like, am I a prophet now? Am I Lisan Al-Gaib? Is that me now? No. It's just dumb speculation. Ridiculous. This one, right? Harumi. Who, by the way, Overdrive's like, I don't want to be associated with this guy. And I understand why. I looked into Harumi's background. There's a reason he's a pariah. And he moved into leaking. Cloud9 recently was interested in buying out the lineup of Na'Vi Jr. What? Okay, let's assume Cloud9 wanted to get back into Counter-Strike, right? Let's be clear. How did Cloud9 end up with a Russian lineup in the first place when they had the old Gambit lineup, right? How did they get that? Well, first of all, there was the invasion of Ukraine and then there was all the sanctions. And we all said, actually, well, week one, we said, we're all brothers. Esports doesn't do politics, and we're all going to stand by each other. And look, here's Simple and Electronic standing side by side on a stage saying that they're scared and they want peace, but they're going to remain friends. Fast forward a week. Actually, yeah, Russians have to wear white T-shirts, and there is no such thing as Russia, and you can't do Blast's going to ban Russian players from playing, even Russians that don't live in Russia, and yeah, we did a great job on that one. We really stood consistent on that one. So, anyway, during that time, Cloud9 worked it out with a Norwegian talent agency called the Ulti Agency. The Ulti Agency somehow acquired the rights to the old Gambit lineup and then sold those rights to Cloud9, so Cloud9 could circumnavigate doing business directly with a Russian organization. Then that Russian organization shuttered, and we just never talked about it again. And this was all predicated on the fact that Jack from Cloud9 thought Groove was a genius, and he saw a cheap opportunity to get a top 3 team in the world. And what did they do? Oh yeah, not much. And because they were committed to the Russian project, they had to keep cycling out Russian player after Russian player after Russian player, and their lineups did nothing and nothing and nothing. They wasted a bunch of money, which, by the way, they said they couldn't waste it after the fucking Colossus project, which they shut down pretty quickly and blamed COVID. And then they shut this one down and got rid of everyone. And then they said, we're sad to leave Counter-Strike again, but maybe we'll come back if the opportunity is correct. Now, you see, I understand all of that because I have a brain and I have looked at all of the pieces holistically and I know the history and I have followed the news. Harumi hasn't done any of that, and he's just gone, Na'Vi Jr., good team, Cloud9, no team, Cloud9 by Na'Vi Jr. Why would Cloud9 ever pick up this particular lineup? Let's just take a quick look at it. Let's think if there are any potential problems that could be run into with this lineup. You're supposed to believe that one of the biggest organizations in NA wants to pick up this lineup with zero ties to NA whatsoever, just because they had a checks notes Russian team in the past. It's not just about potential. It's not just about whether or not they'd be good. It's not just about whether or not they can climb up in the VRS rankings. It's got nothing to do with any of that. There has to be a marketing aspect to it, and Jack knows that. So Harumi said that. It got repeated elsewhere. And of course, Jack says, no, it's a false rumor. He even addressed it directly to the fans. Right? There it is. This is a false rumor. Sorry, guys. Just that simple. It's highly unlikely Cloud9 would come back to CS in the current environment anyway, let alone with a team that far down the equation. So that was seemingly total bullshit. Again, happy to be proven wrong if Jack decides to come out and buy Na'Vi Jr. with, I think, 2 Ukrainians, 2 Kosovoans, and a Lithuanian, key to that NA identity that Jack Etienne values so highly. The merch store, the No Majors Club merch is still going to be there for another 4 weeks or so. So if you want to get yourself a No Majors Club t-shirt or a No Majors Club hoodie, make sure you do. Big Gull has been flying off the shelves more than any of the other stuff that we have to offer. The Big Gull t-shirts is by way and above our biggest seller. I've had loads of people DMing me pictures of them in the Big Gull shirts. So maybe next event that I go to, there'll be Big Gull in the stands. So we have just a Richard Lewis logo tee, my head right in the middle of your chest. For some reason you would want that. And the Richard Lewis Reports mugs are back. And those will probably be permanent rather than the short-term stuff that we're doing with the No Majors Club, etc. Because obviously these are going to be out before the next No Majors Club at Budapest, where we'll probably do another merch run, which will be themed around Hungary, of all things. So, lots of pictures of Orban on to be incorporated, which you can wear with pride, no doubt. Anyway, thanks to everyone that's bought merch, and if you haven't and you want to take advantage of it, please do. And remember, if you're on the Patreon, there is a post with a 10% discount code for Patreon subscribers. Then KRL went on a stream. We all know KRL. Historically, he's been pretty good. He called the Nico to Falcons move nearly a year in advance. Here's a summary of all of the leaks. Let's see how he's doing. Says, regarding, this is translated from French. I've checked the translation with my fluent French. This is accurate. Regarding the G2 replacement reported earlier, he said G2 were also interested at first at getting Nerds, who currently went to Team Liquid, with Nerds also being very interested in the move. However, Liquid refused, probably because it's their only good player, to quote KRL, with an estimated 1.5-year contract still remaining. Now, I could believe that G2 are this incompetent that they watch Nertz go to Team Liquid, don't make a move on him then when he's available, then call Team Liquid and go, do you want to sell Nertz, your best player currently, arguably, even though he's got 1.5 years left on his contract? Oh, no, you don't. You want him on the team. That's why you bought him. Right, sorry, bye. Bye. Just another great day in G2 management. I could believe that because that's what G2 are like right now. But it also sounds absurd if you just follow it logically. It then says G2 also want to make a Zwei or a Zwei currently at Namiga, or the reported Kaspersky from Ents. He said Na'Vi want to replace JL and Imma, and he also repeated Na'Vi could sell their junior roster to Cloud9, and he also said Spirit want to make 2 changes to their roster, with Perfecto being the first one added, and it would be free because he's recently been released. He's no longer under contract. Who he would be replacing is currently unknown. So let's go through these. Let's see. Let's check. How did you do? Well, first of all, Overdrive came out and said KRL is drunk. Total nonsense about Spirit. Now, by the way, he could have just said, this is how you know this is clout goblinry of the highest order and they're all just doing it for attention. He could have just said, listen, speaking on behalf of Spirit, we just want to say these rumors aren't accurate at all and we have no interest in Perfecto. But no, KRL is drunk. He's an old dog shit. By the way, Overdrive's like 39 or something. Like, you know what I mean? He's drunk. He's a drunk Frenchman. How dare he leak about my organisation? How dare KRL get something wrong about Team Spirit when I, Overdrive, have been wrong about nearly every other org in existence? He must be drunk. So there was that. Then also, JL responded to the leaks and he posted this, which was a picture of him in a FaZe Clan jersey. Right? Which, by the way, I wouldn't hate if he ended up joining FaZe in one way or another. We can get into, like, there's rumors you're about to be dropped. You post shit like this, you know, whatever. But it's fine. There is a chance JL is getting cut. Generally, when players do stuff like this, it's because they know they're safe. But there is a chance JL's getting cut. The way that it was worded in the Blade interview, where he said, like, we need to make a roster change. Whoever we cut will not have let us down. That sounds like you're saying preemptively to cushion a blow. And obviously, JL is the player that's got the weakest mentality on Na'Vi. Like, he went from believing he was him to just, I don't know, like, he got a little bit of Twitter pushback and he just went to pieces and he's never been the same player since. It's like, you've got to be tougher than that, bro. If you're going to compare yourself to Cristiano Ronaldo, you better be him. And for about 6 months you were, and now you're not. And you're like, people say things to me on Twitter. Why would you give a fuck? You know? Take it from someone who gets called thin-skinned all the time. You just wake up every day and you just eat that shit. You just eat it. Just be right and be good and be better and do things other people can't and are envious of. But yes, his fall off is a large part of the problem with Na'Vi. Wouldn't surprise me if they did choose to replace him as a result of that. We'll wait and see. Anyway, this reaction suggests to me he believes he's safe for now, and so KRL's being told, haha, fuck you. So, remember, G2 want Zwei. That was one, currently at Namiga. Okay, well, close. Turns out it was Spirit, actually. Turns out Spirit are targeting him. And I'll certainly trust Striker and HLTV over any Clout chasing leaker. That's just how that goes. Even if I like you, even if we've got all this history together from Source, just saying how it is. Like, you know, you do get them wrong. And so it says here, Spirit are looking to get the signature of Namiga's star anchor, Zwei Gogin, Ivan Zwei Gogin. He is 17-year-old, obviously Russian, speaks the fucking language. Lots of potential, impressed everyone in Austin. Spirit were disappointing, do need to make a change. The story makes sense. But you will notice, of course, that Spirit are not G2. Overdrive came out again. And what this says here, because again I have a fluent understanding of Cyrillic, if indeed that is that. It says, Chopper isn't going anywhere. We're not going to remove Chopper. Chopper is going to stay. Who said Chopper was going? Did anyone make that assumption? Did anybody say Chopper is getting cut? No one said that, right? Nobody thought that, even. No clue why you put that out. It's just a total non-story. But again, leaking that about Spirits to my Telegram for Clout is fine, apparently. No one cares. It doesn't matter. Nobody said anything about it, but that's fine. There you go. Next up, Perfecto is going to Spirit, right? Oh, okay. Now, listen. KRL is drunk. He's drunk. Perfecto would never go to Spirit. Well, look, there's surely no way that you could get, almost all of a night's leaks wrong. There's just no way you could. That would be ridiculous, in fact. Well, turns out, no, he's not going to Spirit at all. In fact, he's going to Virtus.Pro, a team that you will notice is not Team Spirit either. Right region, getting closer. The Russian player has become active after over a year on the sidelines. Perfecto will once again play with Electronic. It's a bit different these days, though, isn't it? So here it is. We're excited to announce one of the most decorated Counter-Strike players in the CIS region, a major champion, multiple-time Blast winner, and he also won an Intel Grand Slam. With this change, our roster for the upcoming season is now complete, right? It's now complete. But hang on. It can't be complete. It can't be because somebody's going to leak. Here's why it can't be complete. Because Overdrive said Flit and Fame can move to Parivision. Flit doesn't want to play for VP. Oh, okay. Well, one of the greatest leakers of all time wouldn't get it wrong again. Because, this isn't just KRL and Overdrive just being wrong over and over and over and over and over again. That couldn't be true. So, obviously, Perfecto coming in, he must be coming in for Flit at least, because Flit doesn't want to play for them anymore, right? So that's what's happening. Okay, good. Well, that explains that one then, because certainly there haven't been a lot of W's here in all of this leaking that's been going on. Oh no, it's actually Flammus that's been benched. Fucking hell. What are the chances? So it wasn't Flit and it wasn't Fame that made way for Perfecto. It was the other player whose name began with an F, the one Overdrive didn't mention. The funny part is, this didn't seem to faze him too much. Because even though he got it wrong again, completely wrong, he'll never admit it was wrong. Perfecto saved the VP roster. They were close to disbanding. A detail he left out of his initial report when it was Flit and Fame leaving for Parivision. Anyway, a lot of people started attacking him and saying, look, bro, you're not having a great time of it right now. You need to fucking just chill out, stop making shit up, you know. By the way, look, listen, he could have been super unlucky, couldn't he? I'll be charitable for you, Overdrive. You see, look, I'm trying. I'm really trying. But do you see why when we had our conversation, this is what I'm talking about? You have just put out into the world bile and garbage. It just doesn't, none of it's happening. None of these leaks have happened. It's actually fucking, everyone's been wrong so far. It's crazy. But anyway, people were saying, look, Overdrive, give it a miss. So just before I went live, what's he put out? He needs a W. Spirit minus Magics. It's your team. It's your team. Why are you leaking this about your own team? Why is Team Spirit tolerating this? What the fuck is going on? We still can't know for sure if he's right. You would have to assume so. You would link that with the Zwei dude. Just fucking crazy. And look, by the way, do you remember Nell? Remember Nell? Remember how Nell quit Remember how Nell said, I'm not doing this anymore, I got better things to do. I am not I'm not gonna fucking leak anymore. I'm a bit above it now. I want to write about Formula One or whatever the fuck it was. Right, well, obviously, whenever he's fed a story by his good friends at Vitality or G2, he gets back to leaking. There it is. G2 are going to bench Snacks. Hunter's going to take over IGL. And there's interest for Kaspersky. Here is my report. According to our sources, G2 has decided to continue its evolution and should hand over the in-game leader role to Hunter. As a result, the current leader of the roster, Snacks, should be removed. With G2, the Pole won the Blast Premier Fall Final 2024, the Blast Premier World Final 2024, and made a top 3 out of 4 finish at the Shanghai Major. But the squad never shined under his lead, the former Virtus.Pro player being criticised for his performances and the team's game style. To replace him, various players are on G2's list, but another Pole seems to be at the top of the list, namely Kaspersky. The 18-year-old joined ENTS last October from Young Ninjas. He has performed extremely well in the Finnish organisation, earning an overall 1.15 HLTV rating for ENTS. But the Pole isn't the only player on the list, however, as there are other possibilities open to G2 and nothing has been finalised. Want to tell me about that sentence, mate? What are the possibilities? Can you tell me about the possibilities? No, you can't. What you mean is, they might sign this guy, but if they don't, they might sign somebody else. Wicked. Strong leaking. Now, Nell is still better than any of the shit that I brought up so far. Like, Nell could have been a serious journalist, but he wanted to hide behind a silly little animated fucking avatar and talk down to people. It's not his fault. It's in his nature. He's French. He can't help but be aloof, can he? But the reality is he violated some sacred tenets of journalism, and that was why I always had an issue with him. Here's the problem. Not only has he not quit, he started something called Croissant Strike. And he declared himself the CEO of Croissant Strike. And Croissant Strike, guess what? They leak. They leak now. They leak and suck off Vitality. That's pretty much what it seems to be. It's crazy. I recall vividly when people used to shit on like DK and people like that. This is garbage. This is garbage. You're not even getting information from these people. They are actively just, like, lying for clout. This is, like, anti-journalism. What these leakers are leaking, with the exception of Overdrive, leaking about his own organisation, which I would at least expect him to be correct there. They're just making things up, and you're posting it on Reddit every single time and discussing it every single time as if it's a real thing. These things clearly aren't real. Like, how many more times do these guys have to be wrong? What would it take? Like, what would their record have? Like, how long would their record have to be zero for you to go, you know what? Maybe we shouldn't lionize these people and promote their content and talk about the things they make up. Because there's a serious aspect to it as well. You know, in the off-season, which is obviously now, right? You've got the player break. It's post-major. You're going to see lots of signings before the next season. This is what we call rostermania. There are going to be players that are going to miss out on being signed because a leaker says they're being signed by somebody else, and an organization goes, oh, I'm not even going to talk to that player because they're in talks with G2, or they're in talks with FaZe, or they're in talks with, you know, whoever it might be. That's happened in League loads of times. That's happened in League quite a bit. Players have even come out and said, I got fucked. But that's happened. That's happened a bunch. And so it doesn't come without a cost. It can come at the cost of someone's employment. So it's not just some funny little thing that, oh, he gets some clicks, we get to discuss some stuff, we get excited, it's all good for the fans. It can cost people their careers as well. So what these people are gossip merchants. And actually, not even gossip. There's often an element of truth in gossip. This is just whole cloth bullshit designed to manufacture clicks so they can get attention, and that is all it serves. It is a waste of everyone's fucking time. And I can't believe I have to sit here again in the silly season and point to all of the times that they're wrong or making total shit up, whole cloth, provably so, and yet you're still going to do it next time. Next time they have a leak, they're going to be right. Next time they have a leak, it's going to be the one. Next time, it's going to be accurate. It's ridiculous.